Hey, so this is my Manga Readathon wrap-up, and I guess a super late Friday read, seeing as how this is Monday. But for the Manga Readathon, hosted by Laura and Jen, I failed. Well, I didn't fail, I read a lot of manga, but I didn't get any of, like, the bingo things that were going on. My manga collection is really small, so, like, I didn't have a lot of stuff that hit all of the different things that were needed. So, I mean, I still read a lot of manga, and I'm going to talk about them all that I read in that week. I think there was 13 in total, and I'm going to organize them in the ones that I liked the least, and then all the way up to the ones that I liked the most. The first thing, but like the thing I read and I liked the least was Gorgeous Karat Galaxy. I didn't realize this was a continuation of a series, so I didn't know any of these characters going into it, and I didn't honestly care about any of them either. I didn't like this story at all. The first 3 different series that I read are all like shonen yaoi kind of things, and it turns out I'm not really that into it. I find like the characters are really poorly developed in this one, but I mean that's because it's a sequel and they're supposed to already be developed sort of in the one previous, I would assume, but I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't really care about the mystery element, I didn't care about anything, I just didn't care. The second series that I read was Volume 1 of A Tale of a Wandering Moon. This one, I also just didn't really enjoy that much. I found it to be kind of rapey in a lot of places. That's why it's so far down on the list of things that I read. The main character's kind of alright. He's a little flip-floppy on what he wants. This is about a man who makes a wish on a hill to find his true love, and then like the spirit of the waning moon, or the last quarter moon, or whatever he was, comes down and like has sex with him basically without his consent, and then it's just like, now you have to come find me, and the dude just goes to find him, and it's like, what are you doing? He just raped you. This is problematic. I really didn't like this story. I didn't like any of the characters really. I just didn't like anything about it again. Maybe Shonen Ai is just not my jam. And then continuing on the theme of Shonen Ai just not really being my jam, I read the entire series, which is volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Immortal Bird. This one of the 3 Shonen Ai that I read was the best series. I thought the characters were a little bit more fleshed out, the plot was interesting. Like, a demon wants to repent his, like, demonic ways and become a human being and live his life for the Lord kind of thing. And an angel comes down to protect him, and, like, they fall in love and everything, and it's a little bit more... I almost said realistic, but I mean, they're angels and demons. But I mean, like, the love interest story happens a little bit more organically in this story, I would say, than most of the other things, or than definitely the other things that I read. I felt like the characters were a little bit more developed, the plot was more interesting. I still didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, but... I mean, of the 3 Shonen Ai that I read this week, this was the best series, so it's got that for it. It's my stamp of approval. And the next thing I read was Yotsuba Volume 4. This concludes all the volumes of Yotsuba... There we go. This concludes all the volumes of Yotsuba I have on my shelf, so I don't know if I'm going to continue on with this story, because I don't know if it's worth it for me to buy it or not. It just continues the story of Yotsuba and her neighbors just doing dumb things and being cute dumb kids. All in all, I do actually kind of enjoy this series, and I probably will. Now, let's be real, I'll spend my money on this. I'll buy more of it eventually, just I don't know when. I still am enjoying it, I just... the next thing that I read was, another thing I read this week was the first volume of Codename Sailor V. This was not as good as I was hoping it would be. I don't know, Sailor V is just kind of a lot more immature than I was kind of expecting her to be, seeing as how she's like the reincarnation of the leader of the Sailor Guardians, and it's like, oh, she's even dumber than Usagi for most of this. Like, I still like it. I'm definitely going to pick up Volume 2, because I think it's just the 2 volumes. I'm not 100% sure, but, like, after this, it'll be done, and I don't think I'll have any other Sailor Moon things to ever read again, and that just kind of feels sad. It also feels sad that I'm leaving off with Sailor V, and it's not something that I'm enjoying. Another thing that I read this week was Volume 2 of Fruits Basket, which is the omnibus collection, so I think it's like Volumes 3 and 4. It continues along with Toru living with the weird Soma family and all the hugging and the animal changing form things. This volume was better than the first one. I think it's because the characters are you're seeing a little bit more of the characters' backstories, and like the backstory with, oh, what was his name? Momiji. This is the one where you get Momiji's backstory, and like I'm going into the series blind, so I just heard that it was going to be upsetting and make me feel sad. And then Momiji's backstory happened, and yeah, I understand it. I feel sad. I don't want to. I just don't want it, but I want it, you know? So yeah, this was a pretty good one. I also picked up and read Volume 1 of Naruto Next Generations, and as someone who has not read or watched all of Naruto, I feel like I'm missing out on a piece of this, but like, or not a piece of this, but like missing out on a lot of the backstory elements that should be there for me that I should understand, but I don't understand them, but that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy the story, and I'm actually really enjoying Naruto. I started watching the anime beforehand, and then I saw this in Kohl's, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just pick that up, it'll be pretty good. And it's so far a lot better than the anime is actually. It's, again, progressing faster, which is something that I've heard happens with the Naruto series, where the manga is really quick and stuff, and the anime is just full of filler. So I'm really gonna enjoy reading Naruto, and I hope it stays, you know, as entertaining as it is. Here's hoping. And this week I also read Inspector Volume 3. This one is explaining how this volume explains how Steel Lady Nanase like came to be, and it's a really exciting volume. I can't wait to see where this series goes. I've already read Volume 4, but I didn't read it in this week, so I'm not including it in this video, you know, just because that's a rule that I'm imposing upon myself. But like, I'm really excited to see where this series goes and how they're going to solve the whole Nanase thing, and I'm really all in on Inspector. And the thing that I read last week that I enjoyed the most were Volumes 2 and 3 of Tokyo Ghoul. I am very upset that it took me this long to continue on reading Tokyo Ghoul. Everything about Volumes 2 and 3 is better than Volume 1, like everything's more exciting, the characters are cooler, like the combat is incredible. I am upset that it's only one more volume is to be released and then it's over, but like Tokyo Ghoul Re has already been like, what is it? Licensed, so we're getting that one right away at least, so I don't have to wait that long after Tokyo Ghoul to continue reading the Tokyo Ghoul things, and I never want this to end, but I know that it will, and I'm sad about that. So my camera's about to die and I forgot to charge my batteries, so I'm gonna make this quick, but this is everything that I read this week, and all in all for the Manga Readathon, I feel like I read a lot of stuff, although most of the stuff that I read I didn't particularly enjoy, but I mean, there was stuff that I never really spent money on, so I don't really care that much about it. I'm really hoping to get to more of Tokyo Ghoul. I have the 4th volume on my shelf that I'm planning to read. I want to get more Inspector because I know Volume 5 is out and I really want that. And I'm really looking forward to continuing on the story and maybe picking up something new, who knows. But that's it for this one. If you want to follow me on like social media stuff, I have links down in the description below, and like subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this, and I gotta go because my phone's gonna die. It's not my phone, it's my camera, but it's still gonna die. Bye!